I realise that I've been rather sporadic with these recap videos, so I've decided that I will limit my recap videos to just the UFC, possibly the UFN, if there's anything to actually talk about, because I'm not just going to rehash the card, obviously. You might also realise that I have put this as a reply video to several other people who do this sort of thing online, so if you're joining from some other channel, welcome, and if you're not, then that'll be why it's appearing elsewhere as well. So UFC99 has happened, and there are a few interesting things to talk about. First of all, for the first time in I don't know how long, I did well on my picks. The first match I picked John Hathaway and he won, which was good. The second match I picked was Stefan Struve and he won, which was good. The third match I picked was Paul Kelly. Now, it's quite interesting this, because as we all know, the UFC99 was in Germany, and for some reason, I don't think it went very well with the Sherdog play-by-play. We were still on the undercard at this point. I was one eye on the countdown, the UFC countdown, and the other eye on the Sherdog play-by-play, trying to report it back to the forums that I am usually on. And we got halfway through the Paul Kelly-Rolly Delgado match, and play-by-play sort of stopped. And it says, and I shall read for you, Sherdog.com is having technical issues at the venue. We apologise for the inconvenience. Play-by-play will resume with the televised card. Don't know quite what happened there, whether it was a sign of being so far away in continental Europe, or whether it was just literally sort of something that went wrong on the day, I don't know. I did well though, I won. I guessed correctly on my picks, because it says that Paul Kelly won. It also says that Paul Taylor defeated Peter Sobotta, which is what I wanted. So I got all the undercard ones correct. We're moving on to the main card. Dan Hardy versus Marcus Davis. I thought it was an extremely close fight, this. And I think the only real reason that Hardy probably won was to do with the sort of middle to end of the third round. It had been a war on their feet for 2 rounds. Occasionally they'd get taken down and they'd sort of fight a little bit down there, but it was mostly on their feet. And it has to be said that Davis was quite, for the first 2 rounds, he was quite active, whereas Hardy showed very good defence, but defence is not aggression, and it's not really control. The third round was a little bit different, because Hardy managed to cut Davis, and I think that's sort of where it went a little bit wrong for Davis, because they ended up on the ground, and it was just sort of a bit of a smash fest down there. Dan Hardy was just able to sort of smash him in the face for about 1.5 minutes, right near the end of the round. So that might have had something to do with the split decision victory. Although I agree with it, I do think that it was sort of quite close. Spencer Fisher versus Caol Uno. I went for Fisher and he won. The two basically negated themselves. I mean, it was an interesting watch if you knew what was going on and if you understand the technical aspects of sort of clinch fighting and sprawls and takedown defence. If you didn't understand any of those, which the crowd in Germany didn't really understand, then it might have appeared to be quite a boring card. Some people say they think that Caol Uno should have won that one. I disagree. Mike Cheick versus Ben Saunders. We have to remember that Ben Saunders is, fantastic though he is, he's a little bit inexperienced. And Mike Cheick, this was quite a good bout for him at welterweight. He's dropped down there now. First round, well, it was alright, I suppose. It was all on its feet. But the second round, Cheick had been quite defensive to begin with, and then something just changed halfway through the bout, and he just sort of exploded. And it was a little bit too much for Saunders to take, to be totally honest. So that's another one that I correctly predicted. So I've predicted all of them correctly so far. Cro Cop versus Mustafa Al-Turk. I did say that I thought Turk was a little bit of a can for him to crush, and for the first half of the first round, you have to say that Mustafa didn't do badly. His striking was well out, but he made up for it with aggression. Unfortunately, Cro Cop, being extremely experienced, was just sort of able to stand aside. It looked a little bit like a bull and a matador, to be totally honest. Halfway through the bout, Cro Cop decided that he would actually sort of attack himself, and there's been a lot of sort of talk over this because it wasn't picked up by the referee, and it wasn't even picked up by the commentating team until the action replay. But I don't think I can possibly be the only one who actually saw the eye poke that went down between Cro Cop and Mustafa. I don't believe it was deliberate, but all the same, it appeared rather obvious to me. Didn't appear obvious to Dan Miraglotta, who I don't particularly like anyway. He is the referee who will accidentally lift the wrong person's arm at a decision if they're unlucky. Of course, because of the eye poke, he wasn't really able to defend himself, and Cro Cop got the TKO victory. In the after interview, Cro Cop did say that he didn't think it made any difference. Now, I'm pretty sure, as I had made my prediction, that Cro Cop would win. I think it's a little off, and I'm a little bit disappointed with him in saying that he didn't think the eye poke at that particular point in time made a difference to the fight, because it obviously did. Cain Velasquez and Cheick Kongo, very, very upsetting, actually. The rounds can all be summarised like this. Beginning on their feet, Cheick Kongo would get a few strikes and almost knock Cain Velasquez out. Velasquez would take him to the ground, where he would jump to his back and just sort of ground and pound away, occasionally trying to get the RNC, and that would be it. It would be like that the whole round. And it went on for 3 rounds, and you have to say that Kongo has quite a lot of heart to withstand that. But you also have to say that Kongo really has to work on his ground game, because that's not, a more technical person perhaps on the ground would have finished him. So that would be the place that he has to try and work at. Being quite a Kongo supporter, I found it quite hard to watch, to be totally honest, but there you are. So Cain Velasquez, very good. Totally dominated and got the decision. That was the only one of the whole card that I didn't manage to predict correctly. Rich Franklin and Wanderlei Silva. I did feel the only thing I would say in this is that Wanderlei perhaps was not as aggressive as he would usually be, and people have supposed that that could be because of the weight cut. It was a catch weight, so Franklin went up, Silva went down, but all the same, I think that it was close, but not that close, and Franklin won, which was what I was hoping for. Not to say that I don't like Silva. I think if you don't respect both and see them both as, two of the most lovable people in the sport, then you are quite honestly stupid. And I don't think it really takes away from him. So those are my that's my recap. I did very well. Very pleased with myself.